Hey friends, welcome back to A Simple Truth. Now we are at Exodus 19 through 21. That's where we are today. And today we get to see a bit of the standard that God has for his people. And that's going to be a spoiler alert right there. I say a bit of the standard because he does give the standard to the Israelites for what the expectation is for his people. I say a bit of the standard because I think for thousands of years, the standard was misinterpreted in that I don't think that the Israelites or God's people were taking it far enough. And so we'll see that in a little bit of what Jesus says later on. But for today's reading, 19 through 21 is where we are. We see the Israelites at Sinai, where Moses gets the 10 Commandments. And then beyond that, we also see some of the other laws that God has for his people as they treat each other, as they treat any servants, as they treat any livestock or belongings. So all of this is to set God's people apart from their neighbors. So that's exactly what we're going to be taking a look at. So again, 19 through 21. Chapter 19. In the third month after the children of Israel had gone out from the land of Egypt, on the same day they had come into the wilderness of Sinai. For they had departed from Rephidim and had come to the wilderness of Sinai and camped in the wilderness. So Israel camped there before the mountain. And Moses went up to God, and the Lord called to him from the mountain, saying, Thus you shall say to the house of Jacob, and tell to the children of Israel, You have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I bore you on eagle's wings, and brought you to myself. Now therefore, if you will indeed obey my voice and keep my covenant, then you shall be a special treasure to me, above all people, for all the earth is mine, and you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which you shall speak to the children of Israel. So Moses came and called the elders of the people and laid before them all these words which God had commanded him. Then all the people answered together and said, All that the Lord has spoken we will do. So Moses brought back the words to the people of the Lord. And the Lord said to Moses, Behold, I come to you in the thick cloud, that people may hear when I speak with you, and believe you forever. So Moses told the words of the people to the Lord. Then the Lord said to Moses, Go to the people and consecrate them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes, and let them be ready for the third day. For on the third day the Lord will come down from the mountain of Sinai in the sight of all the people. And you shall set bounds for the people all around, saying, Take heed to yourselves that you do not go up to the mountain or touch its base. Whoever touches the mountain shall surely be put to death. Not a hand shall touch him, but he shall surely be stoned or shot with an arrow. Whether man or beast, he shall not live. When the trumpet sounds long, they shall come near the mountain. So Moses went down from the mountain to the people and sanctified the people and washed their clothes. And he said to the people, Be ready for the third day. Do not come near your wives. Then it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunderings and lightnings and a thick cloud on the mountain. And the sound of the trumpet was very loud, so that all the people who were in the camp trembled. And Moses brought out the people of the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. Now, Mount Sinai was completely in smoke because the Lord had descended upon it in fire. Its smoke ascended like the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mountain quaked greatly. And when the blast of the trumpet sounded long and became louder and louder, Moses spoke, and God answered him by voice. Then the Lord came down upon Mount Sinai, on the top of the mountain, and the Lord called Moses to the top of the mountain, and Moses went up. And the Lord said to Moses, Go down and warn the people, lest they break through to gaze at the Lord, and many of them perish. Let the priests who come near the Lord consecrate themselves, lest the Lord break out against them. But Moses said to the Lord, The people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for you warned us, saying, Set bounds around the mountain and consecrate it. Then the Lord said to him, Away, get down and then come up, you and Aaron with you. Do not let the priests and the people break through to come up to the Lord, lest he break out against them. So Moses went down to the people and spoke to them. Chapter 20. And God spoke all these words, saying, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make yourself a carved image, any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is on earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them or serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing mercy to thousands to those who love me and keep my commandments. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall do no work, nor your son, nor your servant, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor the stranger who is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and he rested the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long upon the land which the Lord your God has given you. You shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's house, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is your neighbor's. Now all the people witnessed the thunderings, the lightning flashes, the smoke of the trumpet, and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they trembled and stood far off. Then they said to Moses, You speak with us, and we will hear, but let not God speak with us, lest we die. And Moses said to the people, Do not fear God, for God has come to test you, and that his fear may be before you, so that you may not sin. So the people stood afar off, but Moses drew near the thick darkness where God was. Then the Lord said to Moses, Thus you shall say to the children of Israel, You have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. You shall not make anything to be with me, gods of silver or gods of gold, and you shall not make for yourselves. An altar of earth shall you make for me, and you shall sacrifice on it your burnt offerings and your peace offerings, your sheep and your oxen. In every place where I record my name, I will come to you, and I will bless you. And if you make me an altar of stone, you shall not build it of hewn stone, for if you use your tool on it, you have profaned it. Nor shall you go up by the steps to my altar, that your nakedness may not be exposed on it. Chapter 21. Now, these are the judgments with which you shall set before them. If you buy a Hebrew servant, he shall serve 6 years, and in the 7th he shall go free and pay nothing. If he comes in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he comes in married, then his wife shall go with him. If his master has given him a wife, and she has borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out by himself. But if the servant plainly says, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go free, then his master shall bring him to the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, or to the doorpost, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. And if a man sells his daughter to be a female slave, she shall not go out as the male slaves do. If she does not please her master, who has betrothed her to himself, then he shall let her be redeemed. He shall have no right to sell her to a foreign people, since he has dealt deceitfully with her. And if he has betrothed her to his son, he shall deal with her according to the custom of daughters. If he takes another wife, he shall not diminish her food, her clothing, and her marriage rights. And if he does not do these 3 for her, then she shall go out free without paying money. He who strikes a man so that he dies shall surely be put to death. However, if he did not lie in wait, but God delivered him into his hand, then I will appoint for you a place where he may flee. But if a man acts with premeditation against his neighbor to kill him by treachery, you shall take him from my altar, that he may die. And he who strikes his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. He who kidnaps a man and sells him, or if he is found in his hand, shall surely be put to death. And he who curses his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. If men contend with each other, and one strikes the other with a stone or with his fist, and he does not die but is confined to his bed, if he rises again and then walks outside with his staff, then he who struck him shall be acquitted. He shall only pay for the loss of his time, and he shall provide for him to be thoroughly healed. If a man beats his male or female servant with a rod, so that he dies under his hand, he shall surely be punished. Notwithstanding, if he remains alive a day or 2, he shall not be punished, for he is his property. If men fight and hurt a woman with a child, so that she gives birth prematurely, yet no harm follows, he shall surely be punished accordingly, as the woman's husband imposes on him. He shall pay as the judges determine. But if any harm follows, then you shall give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. If a man strikes the eye of his male or female servant and destroys it, he shall let him go free for the sake of his eye. And if he knocks out the tooth of his male or female servant, he shall let him go free for the sake of his tooth. If an ox gores a man or a woman to death, then the ox shall surely be stoned. And if the flesh shall not be eaten, but the owner of the ox shall be acquitted. But if the ox tended to thrust with its horn in times past, and it has been made known to its owner, and he has not kept it confined, so that it has killed a man or a woman, the ox shall be stoned, and its owner shall also be put to death. If there is imposed on him a sum of money, then he shall pay to redeem his life whatever is imposed on him. Whether it is gored a son or it is gored a daughter, according to this judgment it shall be done to him. If the ox gores a male or female servant, he shall give to their master 30 shekels of silver, and the ox shall be stoned. And if a man opens a pit, or if a man digs a pit and does not cover it, and the ox or the donkey falls into it, the owner of the pit shall make it good. He shall give money to their owner, but the dead animal shall be his. If one man's ox hurts another's, so that it dies, then they shall sell the live ox and divide the money from it, and the dead ox they shall also divide. Or, if it was known that the ox tended to thrust in times past, then its owner has not kept it confined, then he shall surely pay ox for ox, and the dead animal shall be his own. So again, we see a lot of the standard there that God has for who the Israelites, or how the Israelites treat one another, how they treat any possessions, how they treat their wives. These are not regulations that the people around them had. The people around them could treat any servants however they wanted. And I think it's interesting that people often take a look at the Israelites and think that was so harsh, when the neighbors of the Israelites, the people that they end up displacing later on, they have no regulations on any of this stuff. So it's interesting to see some of that. But we do see those standards in the 10 Commandments. And I think that's one of the things that I love with this. And I wanted to take a little bit more time just to speak to this, because we've been going through the Old Testament, or the Old Covenant, and that covenant is right here in the 10 Commandments. This is how God had expected his people to act. And I had mentioned this before, but it wasn't taken far enough or seriously enough. And Jesus speaks to that. If this is the law and this is the standard, then that's something that has to be taken very seriously. Well, even in the New Testament, Jesus talks to that. Under this new covenant, we see Jesus talking about the law. And we see that in Matthew 5. So I'm going to read this. This isn't part of today's reading, but I wanted to read it because this is the difference in the standard here. It wasn't built up enough, and we'll see that. So in Matthew chapter 5, 17 through 22, Jesus says, "Do not think that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For assuredly I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, one jot or one tittle will no means pass away from the law until all is fulfilled. Whoever therefore breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches men, so shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does and teaches them shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say to you that unless your righteousness exceeds the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. You have heard that it was said to these of old, you shall not murder, and whoever murders shall be in danger of judgment. But I say to you, whoever is angry with his brother without cause shall be in the danger of judgment. And whoever said to his brother, Raca, shall be in danger of the council. But whoever says, you fool, shall be in danger of the fire of hell." So I think that's a great example of, this is the incredibly high, perfect standard that God has for his people. And we haven't fulfilled it, and the Israelites haven't fulfilled it. And the massive ramifications of that are, before a holy and good God, we fully deserve death. Every single one of us. No one has met that standard except for Jesus. And praise be to him who fulfilled that standard that we didn't take seriously enough, and that standard that we, due to our sinful nature, fail every day to follow. Just something to be thinking about, but it's really cool to take a look at the 10 Commandments and recognize that was just the beginning of the expectations that God had for his people and continues to have. Anyway, love you guys, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.